Hello and a very good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us in today's AD Self-Service Plus workshop series. This is Sharda Murthy from the marketing team of Manage Engine, and I am going to be your presenter for the day. I hope you're all having a great day so far and you're all doing well and keeping healthy. Before I jump into today's session, I would like to do a very quick audio and video check just to make sure we're all on track. So if you can hear me loud and clear and if you have no trouble viewing the screen, please drop in a yes message in the questions tab. All right. If you can hear me loud and clear and if you have no trouble viewing the screen, please drop in a yes message in the chat box. Waiting in on a couple of confirmations. All right. Thank you. Happy to know that we're all on board. Once again, thank you so much for joining us in today's session. Today is the day 2 of this AD Self-Service Plus workshop series. We started yesterday, and this is a 5-day series spanning over 2 weeks. And today I'm going to talk about enrollment. Continuing from where we left off yesterday, I'm going to talk about the importance of enrollment, why users need to enroll with AD Self-Service Plus, what are the different ways you can ensure 100% enrollment in order to facilitate users to enjoy the benefits of password self-service. So this is going to be the agenda put forth in front of us today. But before we jump into today's session, I would like to give a very quick recap of all that we saw yesterday. So to those of you who have joined us for the very first time today, we'll have a fair idea of what we saw in yesterday's session. Also, if you'd like to receive a personal copy of the video recordings of this particular series, you can always let me know by dropping in your mail ID in the questions tab. So yesterday we started session 1 by talking about creating self-service policies, setting up the domain that you would like to work with for AD Self-Service Plus. And we also moved on to talk about how you can customize self-service permissions with the help of policies that you create, self-service policies that you create. We moved on to perform live password reset and change password operations. We also spoke a little about different mediums from which we can perform password resets as an end user, right from the Gina CP console, the AD Self-Service Plus web app. It's also feasible to perform password resets from the mobile application as well, which we did not talk about, but will do eventually towards the next couple of days in this series. And yes, we also spoke about ensuring that we onboard users into AD Self-Service Plus for them to enjoy the benefits of this particular application, to enjoy the benefits of password self-service itself. And when I spoke about onboarding users, I did walk you through the details of how you can ensure 100% enrollment. Yes, we call it enrollment, the process in which users sign up with this particular tool with different authenticators so they can enjoy the benefits of password self-service. And so today's session is going to be on ensuring that every single user in your organization is onboarded to AD Self-Service Plus and can make use of this solution to the best of their capabilities to perform or manage their passwords better. All right. So when I speak about enrollment, I would like to divide it as such. There are 3 ways in which you can ensure 100% enrollment. One is manual enrollment, where you send a notification, an email notification, to tell users about this new application that's in place and help them sign up with one of the authenticators that you have enabled for these users. And after they receive the notification, I'm also going to walk you through how an end user can manually enroll with AD Self-Service Plus. As an administrator, there are 2 ways in which you can do this. One is by importing enrollment data from a CSV file or an external database. And this is possible in a situation where you already have the data with you or you're working with a larger number of users and you would like user data to be pre-populated from, let's say, a CSV file or an external database, to set up AD Self-Service Plus, to primitively set up AD Self-Service Plus for all these users. And the other way in which you can do this is to force users to enroll with AD Self-Service Plus with the help of a logon script, right? I'm going to talk about all these three methods, try to perform them live, and also talk to you about the enrollment status built-in reports. We saw a little bit about it yesterday. I'm going to go back and revisit these enrollment reports and talk more about it. And after which, I'm also going to talk to you about implementing an enrollment-free password reset using the mail or mobile attributes. So I'm going to start with why enrollment is important, how you can achieve 100% enrollment, and talk about what happens in a situation where a user fails to enroll with AD Self-Service Plus and how you can cope up with this particular situation without having to intervene as an administrator. All right. So I think we're all good so far. If you do have any questions, please keep them coming in the questions tab. This session is in tune with the first session. I'm going to talk very specifically about enrollment, different methods of enrolling users with AD Self-Service Plus. I'm going to show you the configuration steps as well. So if you do have any specific questions, if you want me to redo a particular aspect of today's session, please drop in a message in the questions tab so I can get to that and fix this, or redo the configuration to show you how this works. That said, I also want to throw a quick disclaimer before I jump to my AD Self-Service Plus console. I am connecting from my house network. I'm sitting at home, leisurely talking to all of you thanks to the internet. But at the same time, I am connected from my home network, and it's not the best, but this is all I can do with right now. So if you do face any video or audio discrepancies, please let me know immediately. The same holds good for you. I believe a lot of you are sitting at your own houses from different parts of the world checking in for today's session. And if you do face any audio or video glitches, if there's a lag, if there's a drop in audio or any kind of issues, please let me know immediately so I can check my connection before I proceed further with today's session. You also ensure that you are in a good dedicated line so you do not have any fluctuations in terms of audio or video. Thankfully, it's been good so far. I've been doing webinars for the last 2 to 3 weeks and haven't faced anything drastic, but I'm hoping the streak continues. That said, let me quickly jump to the AD Self-Service Plus setup right here. All right. Once again, to those of you who have AD Self-Service Plus with you, you can very well make use of the setup that you already have. But if you don't, then I'm going to quickly pass on the demo site in the chat box. If you're somebody who's working with AD Self-Service Plus for the very first time, I'm quickly passing on the demo site in the chat box for you. You can access the link and you do not have to sign up. Just log in as an administrator and you can explore the application along with me. All right. So I'm going to log in as an administrator. Once again, a very quick recap of what I've pre-configured. So I have an OU under my name, which is Sharada, and I've created sub OUs right here. I also have one group, and I've classified users into each of these OUs or groups, trying to replicate a small organizational structure. All right. So the idea behind this is to mimic how organizations work real time. Group-based access can be given, OU-based access can be given. You can fine-tune this or give access to the entire domain across multiple domains. Anything that works for you can be done. AD Self-Service Plus provides immense customization in that aspect. And yes, so my domain settings are configured. What I did yesterday was create 3 different self-service policies with different permissions, different users, and we are going to roll with this. So as you can see, every single user belonging to admin and marketing will be able to perform password resets and account unlock operations right here. That's the permission given. And I'm going to quickly jump to multi-factor authentication and tweak this a little bit. So we worked a little around authenticators yesterday. And as I mentioned, by default, the security question answer and email verification is enabled. What I'm going to do now is go to authenticator settings, keep this to minimum. Sorry about the lag there. I'm actually checking into the server that's available at work. So I'm going to keep this at a minimum, all right? And I'm also not going to have any authenticators as mandatory. I've removed email verification, save settings, and I'm basically tweaking the settings that we had done yesterday. I'm going to do the same for marketing as well. So jumping to marketing. I have email verification enabled. And let me do Google Authenticator for a change. I'm going to enable Google Authenticator. All right. Authenticator settings right here. Keeping this to a minimum for the ease of today's session. And let me uncheck email verification, stick to security questions and Google Authenticator, click on save. So basically what I've done is I have two different authenticators for two different self-service policies, which is security questions, Microsoft Authenticator for the admin policy, and security questions and Google Authenticator for marketing. I do not have multi-factor authentication enabled for finance. And I've set this at a minimum of one authenticator. We're not going to perform password resets today. We're going to talk more about how you as an administrator can ensure enrollment. So for which I'm going to jump to the reports tab right now. Go to enrolled users reports. All right. So I can fine tune this as enrolled and partially enrolled. I'm going to click on generate. Adam is the only user who's enrolled. I am going to disenroll Adam or all the users who have. I previously already disenrolled Sharda. Yes. And so I do not have any enrolled users. So let's pretend that this is a fresh setup. This is brand new. We do not have any users enrolled with the solution yet. And now, as an administrator, when I get started working with this, what will I do? How can I ensure that users in my organization are aware of ED Self-Service Plus? How can they make use of this password self-service solution? The answer is given right here. So configuration tab, administrative tools. I'm going to click on quick enrollment and start with the basics. The basic being manual enrollment. What I'm going to do is send an enrollment notification. I can send this via email or I can also send it via push notification. If it's a push notification, then the user has to have an ED Self-Service Plus mobile application. I'm going to stick to email right now so I can show you how this works. SSP workshop, SMTP mail server. I've already pre-configured it. I can click here to edit the mail server settings. And the subject reads form enrollment requisition. So yes, there's an access URL. There's also a stepwise guide. I can tweak this. Let me click on macros to show you the other macros that you can include. Also check if the access URL that you're working with is good. And you can choose to send out a mail right away. All right. You can do this for the entire domain. You can do it based on policies. You can also manually send it to particular users. Let me do this based on policies. So let me notify an admin account today. All right. And I'm going to send the mail. Yes. and the mails have been triggered, I will be able to check the notification delivery status report, once again a part of the reports tab. The good thing about sending an enrollment notification with AD Self-Service Plus is that you do not have to manually do this every single time. You can have a scheduler in place. So let's assume that you onboard users in your organization, let's say the second and fourth Monday of every week, all right? Or let's say it's usually on a Monday, or it's bi-weekly, or you might have a pattern, you might have a schedule in which, or dates in which you might onboard users. Simply set up a scheduler right here. For instance, let me test, pick out the domain that I'm working with. I can also fine tune it based on policy. Pick the policies in which users are being onboarded to, or pick the domain in which users are being onboarded to. Set a particular frequency. I would recommend weekly because we don't usually onboard users every day, or we don't usually onboard users every hour. So you can set it at a weekly frequency. Pick the day that works for you. For us, it's usually Mondays. It could be different days for you. And send out an email or a push notification to these users to simply invite them or inform them about this particular application which they can make use of to enroll with AD Self-Service Plus, to enjoy the benefits of AD Self-Service Plus. Okay. To enjoy the benefits of AD Self-Service Plus. And once this is done, this particular scheduler is automatically triggered based on the frequency that you have set. You can choose to delete this when you don't need it anymore. You can make changes to it. You can have multiple schedulers with different frequencies. So basically, you can notify users in your organization through mail or push notification at different frequencies on different days based on what works for you. Set up a scheduler, basic scheduler, and we are good to go. You do not have to worry about onboarding users to AD Self-Service Plus anymore with this method of authentication, all right? I'm going to disable this because I don't want mails to be spamming my not so real user accounts. But let me jump to my Gmail account right here and check if I've received a mail. Yes, I have. So I have 4 different mails that I've received right here to Saira, Sharada, Edward, and Tom. All right. This happened 2 minutes back. We just triggered a mail, and this says we have deployed a self-service tool to help you reset passwords. This message is customizable. You can include an HTML mail as well. There's a link to accessing AD Self-Service Plus. There's also a guide to allow users to enroll with the AD Self-Service Plus mobile app as well. So users can enroll with the AD Self-Service Plus mobile app. All right. And yes, that's about it. So when a user is notified about their self-service tool, like AD Self-Service Plus in this place, all they have to do is access the URL given, and they will be able to sign up with the solution or enroll with the method that has been enabled for them. So can you exempt users from receiving enrollment notification? That's how the tool works. So the enrollment notification goes only to users who have not enrolled with AD Self-Service Plus before. It does not go to every single person. That's how the tool works by default. That's a question that I received. And yes, is the schedule notification only for non-enrolled users? The schedule notification that I'm talking about right now is only for non-enrolled users. Yes. Talking about notifying users to enroll with AD Self-Service Plus goes only to users who have not enrolled with AD Self-Service Plus. I will clarify that in a bit, all right? I will show you a live example as well, but it does not go to every single user. It only goes to users who have not enrolled with the application. So what typically a user would do, let's work with Sharda in this case. And if you're wondering why I receive all emails to this particular address, that's how I have set it up. I have a test account, which is sharda.workshop@gmail.com. And what I've done in the background, like I said, I'm working with a dummy setup. This is not, these are not real users. These are not real people except for Sharda, which is me. So what I've done in the background is for all the user properties, the email attribute, I've given this particular mail ID, sharda.workshop@gmail.com is the email attribute that I've mapped all my user accounts to. So I can show you all the notifications in one single place. And yes, if you can notice, Saira, Edward, Sharda, and Tom belonging to the admin OU or the admin self-service policies are the only users who've received this notification. All right. What I would do now is to log in from an end user account, access AD Self-Service Plus, either from the web portal or from the mobile app. You should check out the mobile app. It is pretty convenient, especially if you're somebody who prefers to work with the mobile device. I find it extremely easy. So what I'm going to do now is log in with my AD credentials. This is what a user would typically do. I'm logging into AD Self-Service Plus, a new application which has been introduced to me with my AD credentials. And just as a disclaimer, forget what we learned about yesterday. Let's start afresh, all right? When a user logs into their self-service portal for the very first time, they will have this prompt on their screen, which will enforce them to enroll with one of the enabled authenticators. In this case, if you remember, we had enforced the security question answer method of authentication for admin as well as marketing. So by default, I have to pick my security question, pick answers to my security question. All right. These are the couple of questions that are available. I'm going to keep it simple. Click on next. And yes, so what happens now is I have mandated the security question answer, or I've enforced the security question answer method of authentication to be enforced during enrollment or during logon. And that is exactly why I was asked to enroll only with security questions, and I can choose to set up Microsoft Authenticator right now. Let's do that. Let's try to do that. Okay, since my phone screen is not mapped, I'm going to let you explore this and then you can come back to me with questions. So what this does, let me quickly explain what this does because it doesn't make sense for me to enroll with the Microsoft Authenticator with my phone in hand without the screen being mapped. But yes, try downloading the Microsoft Authenticator. Just click on the plus icon available on the top right of the app. Scan this particular barcode. There'll be a one-time passcode that is generated. Enter the passcode right here. Click on verify code and you're good to go. That is all you need to do to set up Microsoft Authenticator as a method of authentication from an end user's perspective. Very, very simple, very, very easy to use. I definitely prefer app-based authentication. If you do not want to rely on other third-party applications, you can always make use of our in-house authenticator, which is AD Self-Service Plus mobile app. Download the AD Self-Service Plus mobile app. We support 4 different kinds of authenticators from the AD Self-Service Plus mobile app, which is time-based one-time passcode, fingerprint authentication, push notification, and QR code scan. Let me show that to you right here. Push notification, fingerprint, QR code, and time-based one-time password. These are the 4 authenticators that we support with the AD Self-Service Plus mobile app. So you can also urge users in your organization to make use of our in-house authenticator to verify their identity while they're trying to reset passwords or unlock their accounts. Also, this is a device-based enrollment, so you need to ensure that users have installed the mobile application in the device that they own, that they use. It's not a multi-device based enrollment. All right. So yes, explore the different authenticators that work for you. We also support SAML authentication. I spoke a little bit about AD-based security questions, Active Directory attribute-based questions to verify against. So yes, do explore the different authenticators. If you do have any specific questions for any other authenticators, you can always drop in a message to me. I have another question that reads, can I separate the AD Self-Service Plus admin page and end user page? Yes, we can do that. We have a customization option available wherein end users cannot see the admin portal, they cannot log in as administrators, and you do that right here. Let me show that to you because I think I'm getting this question for the second time. So right here, admin portal, you can hide the admin self-service login, restart the machine, and the admin portal will be hidden. But make sure you have the URL to access the admin portal as an administrator, because otherwise you might be a little lost. But another question that I have is, can we separate web pages for different departments or domains? Let me clarify this once again. AD Self-Service Plus is hosted on the web. It's a web-based application, but we do not have unique URLs to access for the admin and the end user portal. All right. So you will not be able to have different web pages for different departments. No, we do not support that yet. You will have one single web portal that every user in your organization can access. You can also choose to customize that page. Let me click on rebranding to make it look like an application that belongs to your organization. Pick the color that you like, pick the font, the title, the images. You can customize messages as well. All right. But we do not give you a provision, at least at the moment, to have different sites for different departments. What you can rather do, or what I would recommend you to do, is to host AD Self-Service Plus on the internet. In that case, you have to have your own unique IP. You can have multiple IPs in which the application that is being accessed is the same. So that is something that is feasible, but with the web-based application that we give you that is not hosted but is just a web-based application, we currently do not support different pages or different URLs for different departments. It's one URL for all end users with the admin portal hidden. All right. I hope that answers your question. If you do have more questions, please keep them coming. I would love to take time to answer your questions during the session itself. So yes, we have learned how to enroll as an end user from the enrollment page right here. Security question answers were mandated. Microsoft Authenticator is a simple app-based scan and QR code scan and a unique ID-based authentication, unique code-based authentication. And the same holds good for Google Authenticator as well. So what will happen now is, if you remember, I did this for the user Sharada. Oh yes, I did this for the user Sharada. So I'm jumping back to the admin console to show you that under the reports tab, under enrolled users, I will now have Sharda signed up in the enrolled user report list. All right. And if I try to trigger the enrollment notification mail once again, Sharda is not going to be receiving the mail because she's already signed up with one method of authentication. How can I have another question? How can I search for a user to see if he or she has enrolled? Right here. Go to the reports tab, go to enrolled users report, click on quick search, and you will be able to find out if a user is enrolled or not. We also have a non-enrolled users report. These are chunk users, so don't worry. But yes, we'll be able to pick if a user is not enrolled as well. You'll be able to fine-tune this based on domains. You'll be able to fine-tune this based on OUs. So let me pick the OU that I'm working with for the day and generate. So yes, these are the users that I've created. No real people right here, but yes, this is how it works. And now that I have spoken to you about how to ensure users are notified about a password self-service tool, how users can manually enroll after receiving the enrollment notification, I'm going to talk about two more methods of enrollment, which is automatic user enrollment with the data that is already available with us, and forced enrollment with the help of a logon script. And let me jump to the configuration tab right here. This is self-explanatory. I'm going to quickly walk you through how you can set this up, how you can set up a scheduler as well. Unfortunately, I will not be able to connect to an external database because the database that I was working with is currently shut down and I have no means to turn it on because it's at office. So I will not be able to show you a live demo of importing enrollment data, but I'll show you how this works. I have a couple of snapshots from my previous sessions, so I'll show you what typically happens. But yes, I do have a CSV file with me, a dummy file with me, so I'm going to show you how importing enrollment data from a CSV file works. I'm also going to show you how to force force enrollment with the help of a logon script. So let's start with a CSV file import. Like the name suggests, it's pretty self-explanatory, all right? You can pick the policies that you're working with, okay? In this case, I want to import, let's say, question and answer. I also have a sample CSV file, which is given right here, which tells me how my CSV need to look. So if you have user data or if your HR department has basic user data, you will be able to import or enroll or onboard users with these questions. It could be a dummy question with a dummy answer, but this will ensure that users are onboarded and give them time to get used to the tool. So this is something that you can do. Once again, it does not have to be manual. You can schedule an automatic enrollment. Just make sure that you keep updating to the same CSV file that you've picked. Let me show you the CSV file that I have. So I'm going to try and import Daniel or enroll Daniel. And this is a security question. This is the answer that I've given. Let me see if Daniel belongs to the marketing or you. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is quickly change the name to Adam, all right? Because I'm working only with admin and marketing. I'm going to change the name to Adam. Right here. Right, quickly saving the CSV file. I have a test file available with me. Jumping back to AD Self-Service Plus. I would recommend this method if you're trying to import, let's say, 10, 20 users periodically. Okay, I have a question, a good one at that. Do we need to use a question that is already set in AD Self-Service Plus, or can we create our own? Yes, you can create your own question. It does not have to be something that is set. Let me check if favorite sport is even a question that's available by default. But before I do that, I'm going to quickly pick my CSV file. The system is slowly beginning to lag, so please stick with me if there are any delays. I've picked a CSV file right here. There's a file encoding that I can pick from. I'm also going to choose to overwrite enrollment data if a user is already enrolled. Click on enroll. All right, I picked the wrong policy. Yes. So if you remember, the user belonged to marketing and not admin. And I have an auto enrollment failure right here. I will also be able to pick or see the reasons. The user does not obviously belong to the policy. So let me pick the right policy. I'm importing question and answer, choosing the CSV file that I have right now. Overwrite enrollment data, yes. Enroll. All right, the action is complete. So I'm doing this with just one user to show you how this works, but this will typically work for any number of users. We've tried it for more than 10,000 users at once when we test the application. But I would say the CSV file import would come in handy when you're doing a scheduler periodically, let's say 10, 15 onboarding users periodically, because You don't want to mess up with the information that's available because it's a CSV file. So it says successfully enrolled. Let me cross-verify it with the reports tab. I'm going to click on enroll users report. Let's see if Adam is there. Yes, he is. Adam is available. Shard is also enrolled. But if you notice, the enroll time is available. The modified time isn't. And this is because this was automatically done. All right. What I'm also going to do is go to the enrollment tab, pick the security questions report, and show you that what is your favorite sport is not a default question that is available, whereas there are 2 question and answers signed up for Sharda, just 1 for Adam. All right. So this is something that you can tweak based on what works for users in your organization. If Adam was a user who had already enrolled with AD Self-Service Plus, in that case, if you choose to import enrollment data and override the imported enrollment data, then this is what will take precedence over what the user had already done. So there is also something that you need to keep a tab on. It works very similarly for enrollment from an external database as well. Same logic, all right, just that we will be working with a database that you have administrative access to, all right. You will have to build tables and make use of a query in case of a database. So I will unfortunately not be able to do that. I do have an MS SQL database back in the office, but it's currently not up and running, so I'm not able to establish a connection. There's nobody at office, so this is a tad bit unfortunate, but let me show you a snapshot of what my table looks like. So this is how it is, all right? This is the table that I had built, and that's the results that's available. So I had one user, Andy, whose question was defined and the answer was black. Okay. What I would do typically when I work with importing data from an external database is given the connection name, given the host or IP address, port. So basically fill in the details, authenticate with the username and password. Once again, reiterating what I just said, make sure that you have the required privileges to query to the database server. You should also have access to the database in itself. So make sure you have both, all right? Once you have set up your DB connection, what happens next is you will be able to schedule an enrollment data fetcher. All right. So there will be a scheduler listed right here, very similar to what worked with the CSV file. And in the scheduler, you will be able to give in information. Let me try it one last time to see if this actually works. I have an MS SQL. All right. Let me do that again. I'm going to try this for one last time. I actually just did before the session. I tried to download and install the SQL Express server as well, but it was a little late to set it all up before the session. So let's see for one last time if this works. If it does, then I will be able to show you an import. Just being hopeful here. because I've already typed this a couple of times and tried to reach out to somebody who can turn it on, but let's see. All right, it doesn't look like anything good is happening, but I'll show you. I'll show you the text pad that I have. Yes, unfortunate, but yes, if you do have, or if you're able to establish a successful connection, this will definitely work. I have worked or imported enrollment data before from an external database. Just that today is hard luck for me because I'm not able to access my database, but this works seamlessly as well. And yes, as you can see, I have multiple queries. I can pick different options. It could be username, question, answer. It could be, you can define the question itself. So the question could be, what is your SAM account name? And pick the answer from the table that is available. So yes, based on the query that you use for your database, or based on the table that you've built in your database or that's available in your database, you can make use of different queries to import enrollment data. You will also be able to successfully not only import enrollment data in bulk, and when I say bulk, I'm talking about, let's say, 1,000, 2,000 users at once. You will also be able to override already existing enrollment. So if a user is already enrolled, you can choose to override the data. You can choose not to override the existing enrollment data. And this works well if you have information about users, if you'd like to do a quick enrollment without having to, without the users having to intervene. And you can also define a question, like I showed you a query where I defined what is your SAM account name. And that's an answer that is something that you can specifically feed to users in your organization. What I'm also going to show you now is another method of enrollment, which is forcing non-enrolled users to enroll with AD Self-Service Plus. So I currently work only with two accounts, two computers right now, one of which is admin and the other is Sharda. So I will show you a snapshot of how this looks, but I'm going to show you how the scheduler works. Once again, pretty much the same. And if you're wondering why we had 3 self-service policies built, but I have only options of 2 listed right here, that is because if you remember, the finance policy has a self-service privilege, or the users belonging to the finance policy have a self-service privilege to only perform change password operations, which means those users do not have to enroll with AD Self-Service Plus, and hence we do not have the policy listed at all. So for forcing users to enroll with AD Self-Service Plus, you can customize a logon script, all right? Make sure that you have a right configuration, or if you've configured the right access URL, pick the policy that you're working with, choose a frequency. If you're using forced enrollment, I would definitely recommend daily, because this means that in spite of all the methods of authentication, you still have user accounts or users who still not enrolled with AD Self-Service Plus, and it's crucial for them to enroll. In this case, send them a notification or force a script every single day. You can set it up at business hours, let's say 10 o'clock every day, all right? And you can also force users to enroll when they log on to the domain. So what happens when you check this particular box is not only will the logon script be displayed right there on their logon screen, they will not be able to close it off, or click the X icon without having to enroll with the application. This is crucial when you have, let's say, privileged user accounts who you need to onboard to AD Self-Service Plus. Click on Save. Once again, it's all right. I thought something went wrong. Anyway, click on Save and ensure that every single user that you're working with have enrolled with AD Self-Service Plus, and if not, you can force enrollment with the help of a logon script. Set up a scheduler. You can set up multiple schedulers based on what works at different frequencies. You can force users to enroll. And let me quickly check if I have a snapshot of this. Okay, I'll see if I can pick it up from the bin folder because I have. Right. So this will basically be rolled out. But I think there's something going on there. So I'll check that and get back. But yes, what will happen is you will have a logon script right on the screen. Let me quickly see if I can actually show you for a non-enrolled user. All right, so I managed to have a screenshot of how the logon screen looks. Let me check that once again. Looks like I don't have the script at the moment, but yes, you will be able to customize the script. You will be able to work with or force users to enroll. My bad. I thought I had a sample for Sharda before she had enrolled with AD Self-Service Plus. All right. So I'll see if I can bring that on tomorrow. I'll see if I can get access to another computer, another user who's not enrolled, and see if I can display the logon script on the screen. So let's start with that tomorrow. I'm sorry, I do not have a setup right now. Once again, working remotely has its cons. I'm not able to access or make drastic changes to what's available because of certain port restrictions that my organization has done. Sorry about that, but I will come back with a snapshot or at least a video clip of how the forced enrollment logon pops up for users in an organization. All right, if you do have any questions, please keep them coming. I've spoken about three different methods of authentication today. I'm sorry, three different methods of onboarding users today to ensure that they have enrolled with ED Self-Service Plus, starting with a manual notification and ensuring users enroll, an automatic enrollment using a CSV file. I verbally told you how an external database works, but if all is well, if I'm able to turn on the DB tomorrow, since the session is going on for longer than today, I'm going to see if I can show you the external database source for tomorrow. And also a small clip or a logon script snapshot of how it looks for users who've not enrolled. I'll get access to another system, see if I can log in and show how the script looks. And yes, so now I'm going to almost be done with today's session. But before I do that, like I mentioned earlier, you can have information of what is the enrollment status of users right here. Non-enrolled user support is also available. You can get access to the security questions that users have signed up with. Licensed users report is also available under enrollment report. Let me quickly pick that right there. So this will basically work on or be mapped with the enrollment process. And also push registered devices, which are basically mobile devices for which push notification has been enabled. So you will know users who are making use of the mobile app to authenticate their identity. All right, that's it. Let's come to a very, very important part, for which what I'm going to do once again is I'm going to remove Sharada from the enroll users list. All right. Yes, disenroll. And what I'm going to do now is show you what happens. I did this yesterday. I'm going to redo this today. I am going to try to reset my password without enrolling with AD Self-Service Plus as an end user. All right, now this is done. I have a prompt listed right here which says you're required to enroll to use this service, so log in and enroll. Once again, if I have forgotten my password, I will unfortunately not be able to log in to access AD Self-Service Plus or my machine in the first place. All right. And this is where my favorite method of authentication comes into picture, comes in handy. And that's exactly where we started today's session as well. So if you remember, I started today's session by removing email-based verification or SMS-based verification from multi-factor authentication for both the policies, for both admin and marketing. And the reason I did that is because if a user has email verification to verify their identity, they do not have to manually enroll with AD Self-Service Plus, provided the user's email attribute or phone number attribute, contact attribute is pre-populated in the native Active Directory. That is how AD Self-Service Plus is built. So I just enabled email verification once again for admin and marketing. Let me try and redo what I just did. All right, email verification has been enabled from the administrative console for this end user. So let me try to perform a forgot your password operation. I'm going to enter the CAPTCHA. The CAPTCHA can also be removed. So if you go to the admin settings, there are a couple of options that you can play around with, right from rebranding the console, integrating with different applications. So I did the exact same process, just that this time the end user had access to email-based verification. The user had still not enrolled with AD Self-Service Plus. But what will happen is when this user verifies their identity via the code that is sent to her via email, let me quickly log into my Gmail account again. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to go to reports to show you that Sharda is still not enrolled with AD Self-Service Plus. All right. So when I try to reset my password, quickly copying the code, pasting it here, giving in the CAPTCHA, click on continue, I will be redirected to the reset password page. And if you do notice, this is possible or the user is automatically enrolled, in this case, only because the email verification or an SMS-based verification is possible. And that is only because of a populated AD attribute, the mail attribute or the mobile number attribute, the telephone attribute. But once again, when the same user tries to log back into their admin console, to their user console, they have been still enforced for the security question answer method of authentication. Let me go back and show you that as well. So you can pick which method of authentication you would like to enforce for users in your organization. But if email-based verification is enabled and the user's email attribute is available, then an automatic enrollment happens. Jumping to authenticator settings, let me show you that I have enforced only the security question answer during enrollment, all right? But the user has still automatically been enrolled with the email-based verification method. So that is why you see partially enrolled listed right here. And once I finish the security question answer method of authentication, which is what has been enforced for me, the status will change. The reason why I'm talking about these nuances is because when you work with different authenticators or when you work with a wider range of users in your organization, there are cases where these will come into handy. There might be a user who does not remember the answers to their security questions. There might be a user who does not have their mobile device on them at the moment. So in these cases, you can simply think of enabling email-based verification for these particular user accounts and ensure that they take care of their own password resets even in those cases, because I would highly not recommend administrators to reset passwords or even have access to user accounts for a brief period of time. Even if you set the password policy, the native reset password policy as change password and next log on, you still buy some time to have access to another user's account as an administrator. And this is an inception, or this is also a paving way to some kind of data compromise, some kind of insider attack, and this is highly not recommended from a cybersecurity perspective. So I'm going to regenerate this report to show you that the status has been moved to enrolled. All right. Why this is important is because though I would highly recommend better authenticators that do not involve passcodes and involves the user intervention itself. For example, a fingerprint-based authentication, or let's say even a time-based passcode that is reaching a user's personal device where two different devices are involved. That is definitely a lot more safer when compared to the traditional password or security questions, all right? But at the same time, having email-based verification code as a backup with an application like ED Self-Service Plus comes in handy, especially at this point of time where there are discrepancies around using a method of enrollment that they've already signed up with, or being able to reset password if they haven't enrolled with ED Self-Service Plus. So those are two things that I want to reiterate once again. But this works only if the default email and mobile attributes are pre-populated in Active Directory, which I believe it is in most organizations, in almost all organizations. And so that shouldn't be a concern for us. And with that said, I have come to the end of today's session. A very, very quick recap of all that we saw today. So today's session was majorly focused around enrollment. I showed you an example of how you can send an enrollment notification via email. It works similarly for push notification as well, provided the user has the ED Self-Service Plus mobile app. Users will be able to manually enroll with different authenticators. After logging into their ED Self-Service Plus console, you as an administrator will be able to enforce certain methods of authentication, certain authenticators for these users as well. That said, as an administrator, you can also take enrollment in your hands by importing data from an enrollment, from a CSV file, importing data from an external database. You can also force users to sign up with the help of a logon script or enroll with the help of a logon script. Keep a track of all that's happening in terms of enrollment with the built-in reports, and also implement the code-based authentication, which is a code sent to email or as an SMS to an end user in case a user fails to enroll with AD Self-Service Plus or has trouble with any of the existing methods that they have signed up with, authenticators that they've signed up with. So if you do have any more questions, please keep them coming. I did have very, very interesting questions today during today's session. Thank you so much for that. With that said, we have come to the end of day 2 of this AD Self-Service Plus workshop series. All right. If you do have any questions, please keep them coming. I'm going to stick around for the next 5 to 10 minutes to answer all your questions. With that, we have wrapping up day 2 of today's AD Self-Service Plus workshop series. I'm going to try really hard to see if I can complete my database setup with a new setup from home and show you the database import as well as the first logon script tomorrow. So please stick with me. I will see if I can do that tomorrow. That said, we also have another very interesting session tomorrow where we are going to evolve beyond our native Active Directory. So looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow. If you do have any questions or if you'd like to reach out to me at any point of time, you can reach out to me at charles@manageengine.com. That said, I have 2 questions for you. So please take a couple of seconds to answer the poll question that is listed on your screen. All right. Thank you so much for that. That said, to those of you who are evaluating Manage Engine solutions at the moment, if you require a personalized session for you with a product expert to assist you with the evaluation, then this might be a great time to let us know, because we'd be more than happy to schedule a session, a private session, personalized to meet your needs. All right. Thank you so much. With that said, I have almost come to the end of today's session. And if you do have any questions, please keep them coming. Like I said, I'm going to stick around for the next 5 to 10 minutes to answer all your questions. But on that note, I'm signing off for the day and looking forward to meeting every single one of you tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, please stay indoors, and please take very good care of yourself. This is Sharda Murthy from the marketing team of Manage Engine, a senior product expert in Manage Engine AD Self-Service Plus. Signing off for the day. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day ahead.